Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll answer the question in the thumbnail. Is the classic analog synthesizer market tanking? The short answer is not exactly, but that's not a no. I think that it is softening, and softening substantially. Maybe it's getting ready to tank. Now you may look at the online shopping websites and say to yourself, no, prices are still pretty high. Let me tell you why I think it is softening and how I am analyzing the information I have. If you've seen any of my music gear market episodes, you know that I'm looking at prices on gear and other attributes like specs, features, and known issues. What you don't see is behind the scenes I have many spreadsheets with these specs and prices, and in addition to this, I also loosely track availability. Let's use a Juno 106 as an example because it's a keyboard of which most musicians are familiar. Also, it's what many people would consider an entry-level classic analog polyphonic synth. 5 years ago, when I would go to used gear websites, I might see 5, 10, maybe even 15 Juno 106s for sale, and their price range would be from $750 to $900. That's a range of $150 from the lowest price to the highest price. Now when I look on the used websites, I see over 100 Juno 106s for sale. Additionally, prices on the Juno range from $1,175 in excellent condition to $5,000 in excellent condition. Now that $5,000 price is kind of an outlier, but you can find plenty in the 3,000s. What this tells me is this. Number one, the market is soft on the Juno 106 with this many units for sale. Number two, folks don't know how to price them, or perhaps they paid too much only to find out that true analog ain't that great or required. A Juno 106 is an introductory synth, and ho-hum compared to other technology at a similar or lower price, like for example, a Hydrosynth. The problem is buyers have over 100 to choose from. It's a buyer's market, not a seller's market. Now we are looking at a price range of $3,825 from the lowest priced to the highest priced unit. There's more. Units listed even sub $1,200 include the option to make an offer. Sellers are open to less money and perhaps even sub $1,000, and we haven't seen that consistently in a while. They're just not selling like they used to. And it's not just the 106, it's practically everything I'm tracking, and especially the entry and mid-level mainstream analog classic synths. High-end classic analogs and other high-end keyboards are a slightly different story, but that's a topic for another episode. Now the next question. Why is the market gear softening or getting ready to tank? I've already given you a little bit of that, but here's a list. Reason number one. Classic analog ain't what it used to be, at least in people's minds. The sales hype and the synth lore is fading. Synth lore got musicians interested and sold them on analog sound. But maybe it didn't sound as great as folks thought it would, and they got bored of it. Analog is limited for musicians that play melodies and harmonies. Seriously, if you want to play something diatonically on a classic analog synth, you have to keep the sound fairly simple. You can throw a bunch of LFOs at the oscillators, filters, envelopes, and amplifier, but at some point it becomes an effect or simply mush. It's not possible to use the sound for melody or harmony, so there is a limited range of sounds available. If you're just interested in sound design like sound effects, then it can be very cool. That's a different story, and you don't even need a classic analog to do that anyway. A $50 plugin will work fine, but I know a lot of people like the knobs, and the knobs are fun. And then once again, something like an ASM Hydrosynth is a great option. Reason number two. Dave Smith and Mowgli issues and other modern true analogs ate up some of the mid and high-end market, so classic analog monsters aren't that attractive or definitive anymore. Right now, you can get a great true analog with modern manufacturing, a box, an affordable price relative to what you're getting, and most importantly, a warranty. You're in trouble if that 40-year-old classic you spent every penny on has a meltdown. And it can happen. Of course it can. It's 40 years old. Reason number 3. The 800-pound gorilla in the room. And you know the company I'm talking about. Behringer. They have produced a bunch of affordable cloned classics that sound close enough or dead on, and people are loving them. Friends were always asking me, don't you think Behringer is going to kill the classic analog synth market? I said, yes, but it never seemed to happen. We all waited, but now I think we are there, or we're getting really close. We're starting to reach saturation. The argument of plugins aren't the same experience, even if they sound alike, faded away because of Behringer hardware. That gave you classic analog sound and plenty of controls, often identical to the original classic keyboard. Reason number 4. Virtual analog became very affordable, especially on the used market. Also, it sounds good, really good. Reason number 5. You never had the money in the first place to afford a classic analog. To heck with real analog. A free plug-in or a $30 plug-in is just as good. Who cares if it's not the same experience? You just needed analog sounds, and you'll deal with clicking on a mouse. Most people that listen to music aren't musicians. They don't care if that cool sound you made came from a Jupiter 8, a CS80, or a toaster. They either like the song and the sounds, or they don't. This is a principle of all my synth lore episodes. Many of the thumbnails I created have the synth up on a pedestal with a ring of worshipping druids. I made those visuals to encapsulate the concept of synth lore. To summarize, I believe the classic analog synth market is softening and perhaps getting ready to tank. I don't have a crystal ball, but there is a feeling that I am getting in my stomach that tells me this. That doesn't mean that 20 years from now, we won't go through classic synth lore madness all over again, because markets are cyclical. It does mean, however, that you don't have to buy into it. And I do believe that prices will get lower before they get higher on classic analog synths again. Especially the ones that had large production numbers, like the Juno 106. 40,000 units is a lot. This will present opportunities for those that still buy into synth lore or simply want to add a classic analog to their studio. I don't think the classic analog synth market will crash never to rise again. Classic synth numbers will wane as the years pass and ancient units become unrepairable and are cannibalized to keep others functional. If classics have another resurgence, the bargains of today will be gone. What bargains, you ask? Well, everything is relative, function-wise and price-wise. 50 years from now, I'll be dead, and the Juno 106 will be $10,000. I can boldly make that prediction, and 50 years from now, please come back to this episode and comment on how wrong I was. You can also comment right now. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll be back in another episode soon.